What's up everybody, welcome back to another Ross review. Today I brought you another Nissan Skyline R33 GTST. But of course, this being a 1997 Spec 2 version. Now I know I just recently had another R33 GTST on the channel, but just look at this thing. And this being a Spec 2 version, I just couldn't say no. So let's just start off with what's some of the differences between an early model R33 versus a Spec 2 version R33. In 1993, we saw the introduction of the R33. The GTST model had an RB25 DET under the hood and was straight rear-wheel drive. The car was made slightly larger and heavier than the earlier R32, and by 1996 the Spec 2 version had moved in. Still running the same RB25 DET, the cars are not insanely different, but the Spec 2 version was given a new and improved ECU. The ignition system was also changed, with the ignition module no longer located on the cam covers. It was instead replaced by smart ignition coils. The turbo was given a nylon compressor wheel to improve response, and later models like this one were given an option to have an active limited slip diff. Cosmetically, the Spec 2 was given a new headlights and new front grille, though the body style stayed the same until the release of the R34. Now this particular car has been modified in a very tasteful way in my personal opinion. The owner's gone to great lengths to make this GTST come across more as a GTR. We have a Nismo 400R GTR body kit fitted. We have a GTR gauge cluster installed. We have GTR seats put in the car, and we also have the GTR wing at the back here. Now, I absolutely love the way this car looks, and I honestly think all R33s should look this way. Alright, so inside the R33 GTST here, the Spec 2 version obviously. Inside, really minimal changes compared to the original R33 that came out. Obviously you can see in this particular car he has the R33 GTR seats in here. Really nice touch, really makes this car feel a lot more sporty and really hug you a lot better than the standard seats that came in these cars. Up into the wheel, he's got a Nismo racing wheel installed up here. This thing feels really nice, you know, all wrapped in Alcantara. And again, just this car is just a really clean example. Like everything in here is looks very similar to what it would have back in 1997. The dash is in good condition. We have an upgraded gauge cluster in here for the GTR spec, but it gives it a nice look, and I honestly think all of them should just be this way. I know some people will go, oh, that's not a real GTR and blah blah blah. This car looks amazing, and if I had this car I would do the exact same modifications. Coming up to the gearbox, yep, we have another 5-speed manual gearbox here, your traditional e-brake. Just on the dash here, minimal controls here. We have a real Casio style watch here up on the top. You got your hazards, your vents. Then you have, really basic air conditioned climate controls, aftermarket radio. Pretty much every one of these will have an aftermarket radio in it. Coming down, you've got what is some sort of square cup holder. Really looks fairly useless, but it's there. And underneath here, the armrest, it's fairly useless as well. It's about 2.5 inches deep. This is sort of one of the things that I like to say is the beauty of this car, is that you don't have infotainment, you don't have all these buttons to put it in race mode and this and that. It's just a pure 90s sports car that is driver focused, and you don't need all the crap, of nowadays. I really like cars like this that are just, this is what it was meant for. We don't need anything else, and just hit the road and just feel the car. I love it. All right, so like I said, let's have a look at the back seats here. Now, obviously you gotta move this seat back from the front. Now I'm 6 foot, and actually my head is touching the glass, but it's only just touching the glass. There's actually a little bit more room back here than I anticipated. If you were on a short trip and you were 6 foot or under, I think you could actually manage if it was a short trip. Now, legroom, you're going to be minimal legroom. You're going to probably be touching the seat here, but like I said, if you're on a short trip for emergencies or something, it's actually doable if you're under 6 foot. All right, so driving the Nissan Skyline R33 GTST Series 2. And just leaning on it from second. Right. This is a screamer. A big thing about these cars, the ride is actually not terrible. Like, it's not like I'm getting smashed around in this car. It's, you know, it's firmer than a normal car, of course, but definitely livable, definitely dailyable. Now these R33 seats as well he has installed, huge improvement over the last one I was in. They definitely hug you a lot more than the standard seats. These aren't a super aggressive bolster, but you fit in them very nicely. Now I will mention these are probably bolstered for a thinner guy like myself. Mate, I can't even get into third gear with these people in front of me. Man, this thing pulls. That's the thing I love about the R33s, is that their engines just feel like they pull and they pull and they pull. All right, let's just see what third gear has. Man, I love it. I love it. Love the wheel. The wheel just feels so good. The driving position in this car is phenomenal. For a guy like myself who's 6 foot, like heel toe, like seating position, my grip, where the shifter is, everything is just perfect for you know, my driving position. Is just perfect. Oh man, and that sound is perfect. Oh man, this thing is hectic, man. And this thing is tuned not aggressively at all. This thing's making off the dyno 285 after just some minor things that are done to it. Through the corners, this thing feels very stable. No body roll, actually. I thought this would have a bit more body roll, but no, it's very, very stable, very planted. Feels good through the corners. Steering feels, you know where we are. You know, it's got some nice little backfires there. Oh, mate. Oh, yeah. Man, this thing is just such a driver's car. It's such a joy to drive. These late 90s Japanese cars, they're some of the best cars of all time. And, you know, when you jump into one of these, you know, Vistas, first driving, you know, your missus's Prius, you know, there's just something special about these cars. And unfortunately today, you know, not many cars can replicate these feelings anymore. And just after $4 grand, this turbo really kicks on. And man, the whole car screams. Something special about an RB25, there just is. These engines are phenomenal. So that's the 1997 Nissan Skyline R33 GTST Series 2 version. I love this Series 2 version. I really love what they did with the front end of this car. Obviously, even what we mentioned under the hood of this car, you have the upgraded engine bits and pieces. The car overall, you know, they're not insanely different, but if I was gonna get one, I'm gonna pick this one.